Hey everyone, Ashley Pareda here. I want to give you a behind-the-scenes tour of the augmented reality pieces that were discussed in our ACTE publication, AR Makes It Possible with Project-Based Learning. So I wanted to show you some of the augmented reality pieces that we created and how it all relates in an instructional sequence. So I'll specifically be talking about these steps in yellow within our article. So again, if you haven't read the article yet, just a quick background is this was a project funded by the National Science Foundation, and the audience is high school life science class. So the first step was to survey the teachers and see what they wanted a unit about. The next step was to align and choose a NGSS standard that would meet those learning objectives. Then what I use is the 5E model for teaching and learning. And I'll maybe do a whole nother video about that, but it's essentially an instructional design framework that I use in all of my work that focuses on inquiry. Once an outline exists in that 5E structure, the next step is to define the augmented reality pieces that can be created to help students do what would otherwise be impossible. That's something that's very important to me and always keeping in the back of my mind as I plan augmented reality educational experiences. It's never technology for technology's sake. It's always to help do something that would otherwise be impossible for students to do.
The final deliverable in this project was a complete learning lab that consisted of multiple learning sequences. It was designed in all aspects to be super easy, download and go for high school educators to use and implement this augmented reality powered learning lab with their students. So you're looking at the teacher guide that was created to help scaffold teachers through this experience and to help them help their students. The augmented reality pieces created in this instructional experience was ZapWorks. So part 1 and 2 is students using augmented reality to learn about DNA. Part 2, at the end of the learning lab, students create their own augmented reality powered project to show what they learned about DNA. So both pieces are super important. Using augmented reality to learn something in a way that would otherwise be impossible, that makes it meaningful and lasting. And then part 2, that STEM career piece, where students learn how to use the technology themselves and create their own ZapWorks AR project to showcase what they learned. Here's a couple examples of some of the augmented reality pieces in action.
To start students off in this learning lab, they used an augmented reality powered worksheet to learn about DNA in general. So it was very simple ZapWorks code. Students scanned it and then did the activities in real time, going through each step of the worksheet. So each step of the worksheet had a corresponding Zap code, and at the end, students created candy models of a DNA molecule. Later on in the learning lab, students worked through an augmented reality-powered simulation to understand and visualize how DNA transcription and translation looks. So my role in this project was to create everything that you've seen so far, the lesson plans for teachers, the worksheets for students. I scripted the entire augmented reality experiences. I created the augmented reality powered worksheets. I defined the videos that were needed. I scripted the content that needed to be developed by the developer. So everything needed for developers, teachers, and students, I created for this entire learning experience. So you're looking at the student version of the worksheet. So not only were they using a really cool augmented reality tool, which I'll show after this, they also had a purpose for doing so, which is exceptionally important. So everything that students were doing in this simulation is carefully guided.
After students completed the augmented reality simulation, they progressed through a series of distance learning modules to take a deeper dive and learn more about real-world applications of DNA transcription and translation, specifically CRISPR technology. Again, as with the augmented reality modules, I was also responsible for scripting imaging, and as you can see here, filming through a professional videographer, the videos that would go along with the online learning segments. This one that we're watching is about CRISPR technology, which relates to the final project that students did in this unit. And again, there was a ton of work that happened on the back end to plan all of these immersive experiences. So full scripting, imaging, links, directions, working back and forth with development teams, working with the videography teams, working with audio teams, lots of different stakeholders coming together to get all of this done. So I'm just quickly scrolling through the back end of everything that was done to put these experiences together. And as I mentioned before, ultimately the end goal and the end assessment in this learning unit was a challenge, a project-based learning assessment. So students, after learning about DNA, about transcription, about translation, about CRISPR technology, they created their own augmented reality powered explanation of whether or not they thought CRISPR was a good thing or a bad thing. So here you can see the very robust rubric that went through. There was also project planning worksheets, examples that were provided to students. So in closing, this was a comprehensive STEM education unit powered by augmented reality, again with the goal being to help students do what would otherwise be impossible and learn things in a way that they would never forget.
I hope you enjoyed this quick overview of my curriculum development and instructional design process using this case study of STEM and augmented reality. I have been working in STEM education since 2008, and I'd love to help you and your students as well. To date, I've served over 3 million students through both my website and my clients in all 50 states. And again, I'd love to help you and your students. So please go to my website, book your free live 15-minute consultation via Zoom with me. It's careerinstem.com/STEM curriculum developer. Hope to see you soon.